You're listening to the Public Finance Live podcast series, brought to you by the PF editorial team, directly from SIPA's 2025 annual conference in Birmingham, England. You can listen to our full series of episodes on the big issues being discussed at this year's conference by searching PF Live wherever you get your podcasts, or by visiting the podcast section of the Public Finance website. Hello and welcome to this latest episode of the PF Live podcast, where I'm delighted to say I'm joined by SIPA CEO Owen Mapley to look back over his almost 1 year in the role and to hear about his plans for SIPA and the sector going forward. Owen, good to see you again.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
So we met up just nearly a year ago at PF Live in Manchester, and you were very new into the role, I think about 10 days. Before we get into some of the specifics we chatted about back then, what's your view of SIPA as an organisation now compared with when you just walked in the door?
Absolutely. And I love the fact that the PF Live conference acts as a really helpful bookmark to be able to reflect and look back. So look, the year has flown by. I've thoroughly enjoyed getting to know SIPA, its people, it's the people it works with, the practitioners and the work that we do. And what's really struck me is I came in knowing that SIPA had a strong reputation and a proud history. And I've seen that day after day out there around not just the country, but internationally as well. So we are small, but we are mighty, and we are absolutely focused on helping public finance professionals to be the best that they can be. And so, as I say, it's been a year that's flown by, and I don't want to underestimate the challenges that we will face. We'll unpick some of those, but I'm confident that what I've seen, we've got some really strong foundations to build on.
Oh, fantastic. When you took on your role, Keir Starmer was just taking up his new role too, and we're excited about Labour implementing lots of the manifesto commitments around public services. It's been an incredibly turbulent political and economic landscape since. Are you concerned that all the other issues currently on the government agenda might sideline some of the progress we need to see in public services and public sector reform?
Well, I'd say let's not forget that many of the things that are contributing to that turbulence is just the sheer volume of reforms. There's reorganisations, there's huge numbers of policy change necessary but extensive. And so the volume of that activity is probably the biggest challenge that are facing most public servants, in addition to the operational and financial issues that they face day to day. Now, many of them are long overdue, and I think they are necessary. But I say, on top of relentless business as usual service demand, that can create pressure. And of course, with the wider environment, with global economic instability, that creates uncertainties and inflationary pressures. That impacts public service organisations. It often drives demand for many of the services that public service organisations deliver. So I think, yes, it's really busy, it's really complex, but I think I can't disaggregate what the government is up to with the wider environment. And wherever they come from, finance practitioners are there at the heart of trying to respond to them.
Yeah, it makes sense. When we spoke about your immediate priorities for SIPA 12 months ago, one of the big things you talked about and that really struck me was this concept of SIPA being a career companion, delivering value to members, whatever stage of their career they're in. Can you just remind the audience a little bit about what you meant by that and tell us how that's progressing?
So I remember, as a long-standing member of a professional organisation myself, that it's easy to fall into an episodic relationship where you do a lot up front, where you're training and qualifying, and then it turns into a kind of CPD compliance and paying your fees as a compliance activity. Whereas our ambition is to make SIPA a more dynamic, engaging organisation where we provide things that are genuinely helpful to people at all stages of their career. So one of the things that we have built this year, which I'm really excited about, that we'll be launching in the coming weeks, is that we have got a completely remodeled competency framework, because the sort of skills that people need to develop and show off are evolving. Yes, there's still the core technical things, but increasingly things like resilience, openness to learning, the way that you network across systems, not just stay in one organization, are really, really important. Being open to lifelong learning. So we have baked all of that into a completely refreshed competency model, We're supporting it with a self-assessment tool where you can see where you're strong and where you maybe need to develop. We can show how different things are needed at different phases of your career. So if you're a newly qualified and you want to aspire to be a CFO, well, you can use these tools to say, well, these are the things that I need to develop in the coming years to build that journey. So I think taken together with the ongoing role we have with events like this and support to practitioners, I think that combination of tools and support should be much more supportive and engaging and really help position us as a valuable career companion, not just an examiner and a fee collector.
Yeah, two other priorities you spoke about last year were, one, making SIPA more recognisable by making it clear what the organisation does and stands for, and two, ensuring that public finance professionals have a voice and an impact on the big macro issues that affect all of us. How are those ones going as well?
So I've spent some time listening to people about what they value from us, talking to colleagues both within the organisation and across our networks to say, what does SIPA mean to you? And so we have restated who we are and what we do. Unsurprisingly, our core mission has remained unchanged. We exist to help organisations ensure that public money is spent wisely for the benefit of us all. We are the global home of professional excellence in public financial management. So that overarching sort of mission statement is unchanged. But how we go about it, I'm absolutely leaning into the themes I talked about last year, where we do it in three core categories. SIPA thinks, which is for everybody, the influencer, the standard setter, the commentator on big events. SIPA develops, our work as an educator, providing not just exam qualifications, but CPD and other forms of lifelong learning. That's targeted very much at the individual practitioner. And then SIPA supports, which is our work to help public service organisations improve through advisory and consultancy style services. So I think that overarching mission and that thinks, develops, supports approach, much clearer, and we're going to continue leaning in to say, well, this is who we are and this is how we work.
Great stuff. And a phrase that really jumped out last year was when you spoke about encouraging members to speak truth to power. Presumably that's only growing in importance and even more important than ever now, I'm guessing. Huh?
And it can happen in multiple different ways. So in organisations up and down the country, we need confident finance professionals relying on reliable data and insights to provide advice to whether it's elected members in councils or board members in the NHS or ministers in central government or just in senior management teams. Just say that here's the information, here's how it links to what we're trying to achieve. And if there are challenges, flagging them early, or if they're told, oh, that forecast, it's not very convenient to us because it's suggesting we've got problems. Well, yeah, we have problems and we need to flag them and we need to talk about them. So that happens day to day with practitioners, but also on the macro issues. I've enjoyed in my first year having a voice and speaking out, whether that be in articles or podcasts or social media, that when there are things that need saying, I and SIPA are absolutely prepared to say it and support practitioners in saying it as well. And with the pressures that we all face, they're only going up. And so it's never been more important to support practitioners to say what needs saying.
Yeah, it's clearly been a busy first 12 months. What are you most pleased about or proud of over that period?
Well, I remember standing on stage last year, and I think I made a commitment to go to every region.
Yes.
And I'm absolutely delighted to say I kept that promise. So I have seen firsthand in not just every region of England, but I've also been to all three devolved countries. I've been to 2 or 3 international events that we run. And so I've seen firsthand the work that SIPA does, but also supported by a huge network of volunteers who give their time to SIPA in addition to busy day jobs, because they care not just about the organisation, but they care that public finances are managed well. So I pay huge tribute to the volunteers who make SIPA regions thrive. I can't really say I'm proud of SIPA. I'm proud of what they do, and I'm certainly really proud that they are putting so much in to make their regions energized, vibrant places that support practitioners locally.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done a fair bit of looking back there. I also want to look forward a little bit. Have your priorities for SIPA changed at all, evolved in that first 12 months? What will be your core focus over the coming 12 months?
So, as before, I think members need to and will continue to be at the heart of what we do. We've talked already about just how much change and challenge there is that's going on. So we will continue to support both individual practitioners, but also to communities, and engage with people to support them going through challenging circumstances. We'll provide practitioner support and just make sure that we are there for people. We're also looking to diversify and broaden SIPFA's offer. So really looking forward to rolling out things like the new competency model and skills assessment tool that we talked about earlier. But also developing new qualifications to other things that can contribute to managing public finances well. We're talking about performance audit and more foundational qualifications, as well as specific things like anti-corruption or anti-fraud, those sorts of things. So we are broadening our offer. And then finally, with so much going on and the need to tap into things like modern technologies and so on, it's clear that working with others makes us, well, better together. So we've already got a great relationship with our strategic partner, the Institute of Chartered Accountants in England and Wales, here in the UK, and we're looking to see how we can broaden and deepen that. But also we're signing agreements with overseas bodies so we can work with them to help improve their public finances. So developing partnerships will also be a really key theme in the coming year that I think will not just benefit SIPFA, but broaden the offer to members as well.
Great. And you mentioned you want SIPFA to have a voice on the big issues. This year should also see the introduction of the local audit office. What will you be saying to members on that during what is a fast changing landscape?
Absolutely. Well, I really welcome it. It's been a real challenge for a long time with the problems in local audit. It's been a disaggregated system. So to have the creation of a system leader in the local audit office is a welcome move. I'm absolutely delighted that after consultation, the government decided that SIPFA should retain its standard setting responsibilities, and we're working at pace through the relevant committees, but also we've revitalised the Better Reporting Group, where we've got some fantastic practitioners who are getting involved with us to say, what can we do to improve how we do reporting? So there's a number of initiatives underway. And I think together we can all reflect on what a challenging period it's been for audit. It's had difficult decisions like the backstop dates and the qualified opinions, but we are now on the road towards rebuilding it to the position it needs to be at, where strong governance foundations are once again behind all of our organisations.
Great stuff. And just finally, what's your message to members about the future of SIPFA and the increasingly important role it and they can play?
Well, it's a volatile world, but of course, when you look back over SITFA's proud history, 140 years birthday this year, there's been volatility before, and SITFA has been right there helping practitioners to navigate those choppy waters. So I don't underestimate just how much challenge there is day to day in our members' professional lives. That's instability, that rapid change will continue. But the resilience, the innovation, the determination that I see from public finance professionals every day, I'm sure will help us all navigate that challenging landscape and really help us take advantage of those opportunities to harness new technologies so that we can do things differently and better in the future, even whilst we navigate those choppy waters. So I'm absolutely committed to ensuring that SIPFA continues to play the role that we can as that trusted career companion we talked about through another 140 years.
Absolutely. Owen, it's been great catching up with you again at PF Live. Thanks so much for dropping by our podcast booth again this year, and all the best for the year ahead.
Thanks very much. It's been a pleasure to be here.
You've been listening to an episode of our Public Finance Live podcast series, brought to you by the PF editorial team directly from SIPFA's 2025 annual conference in Birmingham, England. You can listen to our full series of episodes on the big issues being discussed at this year's conference by searching PF Live wherever you get your podcasts.